All right, guys, we're back. Just real short here. So I have the meeting notes from today. So it's Thursday, July 25th of 2024. And some of the things that were approved today, I'm going to try and run these down. They're going to maybe be a little boring. Of course, they approved the minutes from last week. They approved the nonprofit donation program that I just spoke about in the other video about donating the food items so that they don't expire. They approved an allocation of funds for the prosecutor. They approved their bills for the week. They approved the sheriff additional monies, ditch maintenance monies. So the ditch maintenance monies are all paid by the farmers themselves. It just kind of is a pass-through. So we have a lot of those. They approved a hire for the JFS. They paid out vacation money for CSCA. They approved Hardin Hills money, payouts for vacation, the firing or the resignation monies, the sick pay is what it is, and then a vacation pay for Hardin Hills. They approved and awarded a bid to Vancrest for the Hardin Hills beds, the 78 beds. Now, they were the only one who bid on the beds, so that was a good easy answer, but we did get $390,000 as the bid for that, and Vancrest will have 5 days to accept that bid, and then they will be on a 6-month process they will go through the process of getting the CON, right? So they accept the bid. They will put together their CON blueprints, their whole plan of action, business plan, and they will submit that to ODH, and then ODH will approve their CON, right? So then once that's approved, they have to check in every 6 months to show that they're making progress on building. And so every 6 months they'll check in, and we will start seeing a new nursing home built as soon as here in a couple years. So that's wonderful news. Of course, everything that we've been aiming for and working towards is getting a new nursing home, and it looks like that's made another step in progress. So there was some letter to the judge that was signed. I did not get to see that. And they were talking about transportation, the CAT's transportation that's coming in has to have a resolution through the county to do that. So those are kind of all the paperwork that was signed today. Kirby Rawlings from the health department came in, got bad news. Last night at their board meeting, he put in his resignation along with 2 other nurses. So they have 3 nurses on staff. 2 of them are resigning. Their last days are August 2nd or thereabouts. So they will be down to 1 nurse on staff. They are looking to post a director of nursing, and they're looking for a PRN, maybe an LPN, I'm not sure. But that is a big hit for our health department. Kirby was working very diligently, so we were very excited to have him, but he is moving back into physical therapy and getting out of the health department, which I don't blame him, but we are sad to see him go. So they also talked a lot about the there's a tuberculosis case, possibly somebody who's not from Hardin County has tuberculosis, and they're being monitored. So sounds like they're at quarantine in their home. And what they have to do, the health department has to do, so the state will track these people if you have confirmed tuberculosis for, I don't know, your whole life or whatever it is, because it's so contagious. They try to quarantine and keep track of everybody who's had tuberculosis. And one of the things that they have to do is dot checks, where you go in and you have to directly watch the person take their medication, right? So you're kind of forced to take medication. You're not allowed to stop you, you know, because then you become, you can infect people again, right? And so it's just a high profile case there. And so they're asking for money. So Kirby is asking for $12,000 to cover the cost of the DOT, you know, because they have to have a nurse that goes out. So they're limited on that process, and it has to go out on a certain time of day every day, even on weekends. So it's been a real hardship. So this tuberculosis tracking is creating a hardship on the health department's budget, which, if you remember from a month ago or so, they came in and asked for additional funds because they're having a hard time meeting their budget. They wanted ARPA funds. They Crow mentioned that they're still waiting back to hear from the sheriff on the solar funds. If that comes in lower, they may have some extra funds to hand over to the health department possibly. So they're still waiting to hear from the sheriff on that. But upon further research, you find out that the health department is kind of chronically unfunded. And so an additional $12,000 in pay that you're not, it's the regular hours that these people are being paid, but you're not doing the job that you're supposed to be doing because you're working on this tuberculosis patient, you know, has created a major hardship. And so he's just asking for funds to cover that. He found a MOU, a memorandum of understanding, between Hardin County Commissioners and the Kenton Hardin Health Department in 2019. And it states that the Hardin Health Department shall submit quarterly billing for expenses over and above what client pays, and the county agrees to pay quarterly billing expenditures over and above what the client pays. I thought this was for tuberculosis. Oh yeah, for tuberculosis control billing expenses, because it's per the ORC that the county is responsible to maintain this, because it's a county state problem. And so editorialized, I feel a little bit that it's a no-brainer. You know, it's the ORC, it's mandate. They already have an agreement to pay the expenses, and I felt like maybe there's a lot of haggling over getting that paid. I guess they're gonna have to work it out. Either the health department will have to absorb those costs, and they'll just be shorter at the end of the year than they were, and they will have to ask for more funds, or they can get additional funding through this. The commissioners asked them to go back and request Medicaid, to see if Medicaid would pay, and get a refusal from insurance, you know, and da-da-da-da-da. So, administrative nightmare, but that's all right. Kirby's leaving on the 2nd, so it'll be a long forgotten for him. So that was kind of the big thing for Kirby. Sorry, this video is going a little longer. Kenton City came in today, had a big update. We had a water main break there because when they took the pressure off the pipes, it basically burst the pipe, but they got that fixed. And they had she explains in the video that they have shutoffs around town. All right, my phone turned off, so I didn't get to finish my presentation. I was talking about how the water main broke downtown, and the city had put in different valves, so they were able to quarantine the break, which is why they're doing some of this infrastructure work, so that they can have the things in place so they don't have to shut down the whole city or part of the city to just fix a water main. And so that was really good. So that's where I ended. Kenton also talked about they're finishing the downtown. They're going to switch over to doing the streetscape, where they're putting the brick in. They're going to put in new trees, the curbs, the sidewalks, whatever they're doing. So that process is going to start transitioning over. They went and did Cindy and Lynn went and had a presentation about a grant to finish. So the street work goes up to a certain point in Detroit Street, doing the curbs and the widening and everything. And so now they're trying to get grants and stuff to finish from where they stop on Detroit out to the city limits, so that Detroit all the way north is done and beautiful and has all the amazing things. So when you come into town, it looks amazing. So they did that. The roundabout got approved, the legislation to go into contract to continue that. Now it sounds like the design of the roundabout is still not completely finalized, but they are going to continue the process of researching and doing and getting that process into construction. It'll still be quite a while, a few years out, that the construction actually starts. So that's a good first step. They also talked about somebody coming in and doing the parking lot there at the city building and putting in planters. You have to listen to the video for the longer version, and using some of the bricks from downtown to do that work, and so reclaiming some of that history. So that'll be awesome. They're widening Kohler Street to finish that kind of project up. They are doing a study on Detroit Street with the Carroll and Ohio lights. You'll see signs up there on the lights that they're being studied. They're doing that because those street lights will not be able to talk to the new street lights. This is amazing, guys. Like, I am so impressed. I know nothing about street lights, but these new street lights going into downtown, the 4 around the square that ODOT is putting in, will look down the road and they'll say, oh, you know, you got so many cars, and they'll look the other way, and it's all based on travel usage. It's not every 30 seconds that it's changing. It's actually, and then it'll communicate to the other. So you're going to have 4-way communication with these lights, which is amazing. The problem is the lights that are just north of downtown and south of downtown don't work. Their timing systems don't work at all anymore because they're so old, and they're not going to communicate with the new ones. So then the city would have to purchase new ones because they're outside the scope of ODOT. And the city has gone and asked ODOT to do a study with them to see. So if ODOT will approve those lights, that they say, hey, you know what, you really do need those lights north and south of town, or one or the other, ODOT will actually pick up the cost of those lights. So instead of us paying for them and keeping them, or getting rid of them so that the only lights on that street will be the downtown lights, you know, the study will help tell that, and be able to say whether we're responsible to pay for it or ODOT is. So they are working hard to get the funding and doing all the steps so that we don't have to pay for having working, communicating traffic lights. So I'm pretty excited about those. And then lastly, they talked about doing the speed checks, moving those to out by Walmart in the school to monitor the data of the cars coming through there and the speeding through those areas. And so we'll be interested to see what comes out of that study when those are moved and what it has to say. The last thing, well, there's 2 more things on the agenda. Fred Rush went out and did the Yost House tour out there at the fairgrounds that they rent out there, to make sure that it's all sound and in good working order. And then in the afternoon, they had an Ottawa River joint board meeting. I did not go to that. It was at 1 o'clock. So we'll see maybe what they said in the meeting notes next week. So that's your recap. Sorry it was kind of long. City has a lot going on. Health department has a lot going on. And I hope you guys have a good day. See you later.